Jnanandjana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Kauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Vascharya Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare One more time. Hold together. Krishna, 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 Hare, Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama everyone, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare again, all together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Jai Jai Gauranita, 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 Gauranita,
Caitanya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tiramani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Namaste Sasamavadi Krishna Today Om Ajanatamilandasya Arjuna Janasalakaya Saksusamilitanjena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Caitanya Manavistam Skapitam Vena Bhutale Sayam Upakadamayam Dadati Sarkandantikam Vansakalpa Tubhascha Kripa Sindhu Vayudacha Patitanam Prabhanebhyo Vaishnavega Namo Namah. Today we'll read from Caitanya Caritamrta. This is a new chapter, Madhya Lila, chapter 5. And in the previous chapter, about Madhavendra Puri's devotional service. And Madhavendra Puri was a great, renounced sadhu. He was completely renounced from the material world and had full absorption on the spiritual level. And not only was he renounced from the world of matter, but he had love for Krishna. And he had so much love for Krishna, he was fully and continuously absorbed in thoughts about Krishna. And thoughts about Krishna didn't just mean thinking about him, but it meant thinking of serving him, or serving him with his thoughts. So he was so absorbed in thoughts of Krishna that Krishna was also thinking of him. Is that thunder, or is that this?
That's the wind.
It's the wind. How wonderful. How wonderful. I guess that's sort of funny. Sort of. Yes, now all problems will be solved.
This might help.
No, it will help. We'll put a sponge over it. Very good. So Madhavendra Puri, he had such exalted consciousness that Krishna was always thinking about him and desiring to accept his service because of the loving exchange that took place between Krishna and Madhavendra Puri. Krishna was Madhavendra Puri's loving devotion of wanting to give Krishna something was so strong that Krishna was desired to accept the service that Madhavendra Puri was offering. So this is quite exceptional and quite wonderful. And Madhavendra Puri's speciality was that he was the first one in the disciplic line of Srimad Madhvacharya to bring ecstatic love for Krishna in the mood of the Braja Gopikas, the residents of Vrindavan, the Gopis. So he brought that into the Sampradaya, and that was fully manifest by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the giving of that very special, most special of intimate gifts to the world at large, is to love the Supreme All-Powerful Lord, the Absolute Truth, in such an intimate way, in the most intimate way, with the most intimate love. So this is especially given by Madhavendra Puri, and especially manifest and fully manifest by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Ujjala Unatal Rasam, given by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So Madhavendra Puri's love for Krishna was so great that the Lord, wishing to accept service from him, came to him in dreams and gave him different orders. He told him where he was buried near the hill Govardhan in the form of the Gopal deity. He brought Madhavendra Puri milk. He told Madhavendra Puri to please get me some sandalwood, some chandan, and because my body is still burning warm, burning hot from having been placed hidden for so long in the bushes. And then finally, after Madhavendra Puri completed those services, the deity came to him in a dream, and to save Madhavendra Puri from difficulty, he told Madhavendra Puri to offer that same sandalwood that he requested for himself, offer it to the deity of Gopinath, because the deity of Gopal and the deity of Gopinath were actually the same, because they're all Krishna. So we learned so many things from this pastime, but most of all, we learn of the glory of and the glorious power of devotional love, of bhakti. It is so powerful that it brings Krishna under control. And Madhavendra Puri possessed that kind of love. Now in this chapter, this next chapter, which is chapter 5, we're going to hear something still more amazing than this. Even though Madhavendra Puri's devotional service was so amazing, but it's primarily how he was serving Krishna. But here, in the form of a deity, in the form of the Archa Vigraha, but here in this chapter we're going to hear something quite different, how the Lord is, in the form of the deity, is going to serve his devotees. And in such an interesting way, and we'll hear about this slowly or quickly, we shall see. It's a, I would call a medium-sized chapter. Okay, so the chapter will begin by, as Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj always begins his chapters, he begins with one verse that summarizes what's going to happen in the chapter. So if you want to know the ending, what happens at the ending, just listen and you shall hear it right now. Padbhyam salam ya patima swarupo brahmanya devo I sataha kamyam desham yayo viprakrite adbhutteham tam sakshi gopalam aham natosmi. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahmanya Deva, who is so dear to those who are Brahmins, because this pastime will take place describing the Lord's relationship with two Brahmins. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appeared as Sakshi Gopal to benefit a Brahmana, walking on his own legs. So Sakshi Gopal is a deity. Raise your hand if you've seen this deity. Yes, 1, 2. I've also seen it from a little bit of a distance, but I've seen this deity. He's quite wonderful. But he's a deity. What is a deity? Deity comes from the Latin word Dios, means God. So he's God, but when we say deity, we mean in a form that's essentially matter. But of course, matter is essentially a spiritual energy of the Lord. But it's how the Lord shows his mercy to the living entities of this world, to all of us, because if he didn't come in his form of the Archavigraha in matter, which we can't see, we wouldn't have any access to seeing him at all, practically speaking. And without seeing him, how could we practice offering him things with devotion? So it's a special, the deity form is a spiritual technology that is a special gift of Krishna, that he comes in this form, the Archavigraha. Because of course there's no matter is not different from him. It's one of his energies. It's one of his energy, Bahiranga Shakti. So it's one of his energies. So for him to use matter in a spiritual way is not at all difficult. And when matter is used in a spiritual way, it becomes completely spiritualized, and the Lord acts through it in the form of the deity and through the matter. I heard Prabhupada say, perhaps it was even this morning or last night, he was saying how everyone knows the deity is made out of stone. He was sitting in the Radha Damodar courtyard when he said this. Yes, the deity is made out of stone, or he's sometimes made out of wood, or sometimes out of gems, or even the deity can be made out of earth, or can be even mentally conceived of. But to think of the deity as only matter, that is offense. But yet there is a conjunction between matter and spirit, and by Krishna's mercy, the deity, which is essentially made out of matter, can act fully spiritually, and Krishna can manifest fully through that deity. He manifests, when we say fully, he can manifest his full beauty through that deity. That's what comes to my mind first. That he can manifest his unlimited beauty through a deity form. And he does that to those who worship him with great devotion, who serve him with devotion. And when they look at that deity form, they see the beauty of Krishna. And it's captivating like anything. Far beyond the ingredients that are placed on that deity form, such as the cloth and the jewelry and the painting of the deity. But seeing that deity can so captivate the mind because of the devotion of the devotee. Krishna reciprocates with that and manifests that beauty through the deity form. And a materialistic person will look at it and see like something like a doll or a statue. But the devotee, because of his devotion, he sees Krishna. So one can say or ask the question, well, how else does Krishna manifest? Does he manifest his power? Does he manifest what else can he do? Can he walk? Can he talk? Well, that question is answered in this chapter. Yes, he can do whatever he likes through the deity form, through his Archavigraha form. So this is wonderful, and this again is a special gift of Krishna, a special kindness, a special form of his mercy to us who otherwise don't have any access. It gives us a facility to access his beauty, and it also gives us a facility to serve, because service is the greatest fortune to Krishna. Service to Krishna, seva, is such great fortune, because one reason is that it's our natural constitutional position, and if we're not serving Krishna, it's not that we stop serving, we just serve others, because we can't stop serving. And if we try to stop serving and become 100% selfish, which is the tendency nowadays, one becomes 100% miserable. And one thinks that, one will think, and this is how people start thinking, I'm not satisfied giving to others in the material world. And of course, giving to others in the material world won't satisfy us. I'm not satisfied giving to others in the material world and serving others, and everyone wants more and more from me, and no matter how much I give them, they're not satisfied. So I'm going to stop serving others, and I'm going to take care of myself alone. That's called selfishness. So the reaction against improper service is selfishness. But the problem is that the more selfish we become, the more miserable we become, and the more lonely we become. So a different alternative, when we're not satisfied with in the material world giving to others, is to serve Krishna. And Krishna is very, very kind. And while no matter how we serve others, they never are quite satisfied with our service, Krishna is satisfied even with a leaf of flower, or some water, or some fruit. Asnami paratatmana. He accepts it if it's given with bhakti. So he's hungry for the bhakti of his devotee. And to the extent that he will reciprocate with a devotee who, it will be described in this chapter. So I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahmanyadeva, who is especially inclined to the Brahmins, who appeared as Shakshi Gopal to benefit a Brahmana, walking on his own legs. So you're not reading it perhaps, but walking on his own legs, the his is capitalized, so it's clearly referring to Krishna, the deity. The deity was walking on his own legs. He walked. And in that way he traveled for 100 days through the country. Thus his activities are wonderful. Tam Shakshi Gopalam Aham Natosmi. I offer my respectful obeisance. Listen to this amazing deity, Shakshi Gopal, who walked for 100 days because he wanted to please his devotees. So what do you think about that? No one wants to open up and say what they think about that. Say that again?
All the people that saw him were really happy.
Did you see him? And are you happy?
Yes.
Oh, see, there's the proof. 100 days. That we'll find out later. Yeah, so you think it's a long walk? Yeah. I mean, if you had to walk for 100 days, and someone said, come, you have to walk for 100 days, what would you think? How much do I get paid by the day? What am I going to eat? Where am I going to sleep? This, that. What's in it for me? So what's in it for Krishna? Why did he do it? That's the question that comes to my mind, and the answer we already know is, and it's already been said. And this is that he did it to benefit or to do some good to his devotee, a Brahmana. It was fact that he was a devotee, of course. So Krishna is even willing to go that far of undergoing the, quote, hardship of walking 100 days just to benefit someone who loves him. So therefore, Kaviraj Goswami begins his chapter saying that I offer my respectful obeisances to him. I bow to this one. I bow to him. Because look at this character. Look at his character. Now, look at his character. Look how wonderful. Look at this wonderful quality. That how he serves his devotee. Far from being a dictator or a tyrant, he serves his devotee. He's different from the angry God who sits on his throne and says, if you have to do what I say, otherwise the thunderbolt shall come on you. What was that? You go to hell.
Invade.
Huh?
Invade.
Invade? Invade. Invade what?
Invade your territory.
Invade your who's going to invade my territory? I'm not sure what you mean.
Means if you don't obey me, then I will invade your territory.
Oh, if you're the king, yeah, I'll ruin you. I'll knock you off your throne. You have to do what I say. And then everyone, yes, 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 but there's no love. When the relationship is based on fear, when there is fear, there cannot be love, or inhibits love. So this Krishna, this understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the lover of his devotees is so sublime. It is sublime. Anyone else want to say what they think of this? Oh, that we shall find out very soon. He walked all the way there, and then he was carried somewhere else after. All glories, Jai Jai, this is verse 2, Jai Jai Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. All glories to Sri Advaita Prabhu. And all glories to all the devotees of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So this pastime of Sakshi Gopal is going to be spoken by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself, because in the larger picture of things, that he's just taken sannyas and he's traveling he's walking from the house of Advaita Acharya to Jagannath Puri. So he stopped at Ramuna, which is near the Baleshwar train station. Just as I think as you cross into, is Baleshwar in Bengal or it's Orissa? So just near the border, and then he's quite close to Jagannath Puri with his associates of Damodar Pandit, Damodar Pandit, Mukunda Datta, Nityananda Prabhu, and maybe that's all. Damodar Pandit, Nityananda, Jagannananda Pandit, and Mukunda Datta, 4 associates, and they stop at where the deity is. At that time the deity was in Katwa. Walking and walking, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and his party finally arrived at Jajapur on the river Vaitarani. There he saw the temple of Varahadev, and he offered his obeisances unto Varahadev. So in Chaitanya Bhagavat it describes that in the temple in Jajapur, Mahaprabhu disappeared for some hours. while the devotees were chanting in front of the deity, and then he came back. And some people say that because Jajipur is his ancestral home, and therefore he went to visit that place, in case you're interested. If anyone has any questions, you can just ask them at any time. In the temple of Varahadev, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged in chanting and dancing and offered prayers. He passed that night in the temple. Afterwards, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the town of Cuttack to see the temple of the witness Gopal, Shakshi Gopal. When he saw the deity of Gopal, he was very much pleased by his beauty, because the deity is indeed beautiful. And he's quite large as well. Prema Veshe Nritya Gita Koila Katachana. So, Prema Veshe means he was filled, Avesha, he was filled with prema. And he was Nritya, he was dancing, Gita, he was singing. And he did this for some time. Avishtahai Koila Gopal Stavana. And then he was feeling so much love for Gopal, for the deity, because the deity was Krishna and he loved Krishna, that he became overwhelmed and he began to offer some prayers. While there, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged in chanting and dancing for some time, and then being overwhelmed, he offered many prayers to Gopal. That night, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in the temple of Gopal, and along with all the devotees, he heard the narration of the witness Gopal, Shakshi Gopal, with great pleasure. Previously, when Nityananda Prabhu had toured all over India to see different places of pilgrimage, he also had come to see Shakshi Gopal at Cuttack. At that time, Nityananda Prabhu had heard the story of Shakshi Gopal from the townspeople. He now recited this again, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, heard the narration with great pleasure. Formerly at Vidyanagara, so that's where he ended up, in Vidyanagara in South India. That's at the very southern part of the border of what was Orissa at that time. Formerly at Vidyanagara in South India, there were two brahmanas who made a long tour to see different places of pilgrimage. So in previous times, and even today in India, when people would go visiting places, because there's a natural tendency to leave your village and see the rest of the world, they would go to holy places. And the benefit of them going to holy places was that they were free from their ordinary activities, and they would think about the holy place that they were going to visit. And the holy places were always connected to the Lord, or had some holy river, which was also had some pastimes of the Lord. There's always some very, very deep spiritual connection. So naturally, going to that place, one would be thinking of the spiritual connection, and having heard of that place from others perhaps, or having read about that place, one would naturally be thinking, oh, what's it going to be like? And I also remember the first time I went to Sridham Mayapur many, many years ago, because I grew up by the ocean in the United States and spent a lot of time in the ocean waters. So I had heard, as we were going to Mayapur, that to bathe in the Ganga was very, very, very special. And it purified you greatly. So I had a doubt in my mind. What happens if I go into the water of the Ganga and it doesn't feel any different from the ocean? So I was wondering what the experience was going to be like. And that's natural when one goes to a holy place. One wonders what the experience is going to be like. So one's already thinking of the place. And in those days, when people went to a holy place and went to a place of pilgrimage, they walked. They walked, and it took days. And they went on a long tour, and sometimes the pilgrimage, they go to one pilgrimage place and then go to a next pilgrimage place and then go high into the Himalayan mountains and do Chardham Parikrama and go to Badrinath, Kedarnath, Yamunotri, Gangotri. Raise your hand if you've been to all those four. I've been to 3 out of the 4. But I didn't walk. But I remember when we were in Badrinath, the air was so thin. It took you quite a while to get used to it. And when the air is very thin, because it's so high in the mountains, that if you walk from here to there, when you're not used to it, you'd be out of breath. But then, when we were up there, we saw that there were helicopters that had come from Delhi that just did the parikrama, and some politicians or something, they'd just go up in the helicopters and then they'd go around and then travel back a day trip. So perhaps there's some gain, but it's quite different from the experience of actually being in the place and walking to the place or traveling to the place and then dealing with that very, very special, rarefied energy of these holy places and hearing from the people who are there, who are wise and learned. So they went on, these 2 Brahmins, one elderly and one young, went on a tour from Vidyanagara in South India. First of all, they visited Gaya, then Kashi, Benares, then Prayag, which is close to Benares. Finally, with great pleasure, they came to Mathura. That means Vrindavan. After reaching Mathura, they started visiting the different forests of Vrindavan, and they came to Govardhan Hill. Raise your hand if you've been to Govardhan Hill. Yes? You've been to Govardhan Hill? What did you think of Govardhan Hill? What did you think of Govardhan Hill? Special. In what way is it special?
I think it's Vrindavan special, so I just felt sanctified place.
When you say sanctified, what do you mean?
Pastime sites there.
I'm talking about the feeling. What's the experience of the place? It's hard to describe what these places are like, and each one has a different flavor. But when you go to Badrinath or places high in the Himalayas, it's so amazing. You never in your life experience the depth of peace that's available there. And when you get to Vrindavan, though, there's such a sweetness. There's such a sweetness there's no other place as sweet.
Eating the dust.
Have you been eating the dust again? I was wondering who's been eating all the dust of Vrindavan. It was you.
I did experience sore feet.
When you walked around Govardhan. Yeah. So they came to Govardhan Hill. They visited all 12 forests and at last came to the town of Vrindavan. Here's Srila Prabhupada's purport. The 5 forests situated on the eastern side of the river Jamuna are Bhadravan, Bilvavan, Lohavan, Bandiravan, and Mahavan, Gokul Mahavan. Those are on one side of the Yamuna there are 5, and there are 12 forests altogether. So how many are on the western side? Too bad Braj Mohan isn't here and GV. They'd be able to figure that one out easy. The 7 forests situated on the western side of the Yamuna are Madhuvan, Talavan, Kamudavan, Bahulavan, Kamyavan, Kadiravan, and Vrindavan. Raise your hand if you've been to all the 12 forests of Vrindavan. I think I must have. Yeah. You went to all 12? When? What inspired you to do that? You went by bus? With many, many, many devotees? Oh, okay. How wonderful. How many days did it take you? After visiting all these forests, these pilgrims went to a place known as Pancha Krosi Vrindavan. Out of the 12 forests, the Vrindavan forest extends from the town of Vrindavan up to Nandagram and Barshana, a distance of 32 miles, within which the Pancha Krosi Vrindavan town is situated. In the village of Pancha Krosi Vrindavan, at the site where the Govinda temple is now situated, there was a great temple where gorgeous worship of Gopal was performed. And it describes, I don't know if it's here, that the great-grandson of Krishna, his name was Brajanath, he installed this Gopal deity. Madan Gopal he also installed, which is Madan Mohan, who is now in Karoli, and who Advaitacharya saw and Sanatana Goswami served, etc. And also this deity of Shakshi Gopal, he installed them because after Krishna had departed from this world, Brajanath, the great-grandson of Krishna, came to Mathura, and he became the king of Mathura. And he, at that time, went around and changed the names of the villages in Vrindavan so that they would match the pastimes that Krishna performed, that they would indicate the pastimes that Krishna performed in those villages. And also he installed deities. And you want to say something about the deities he installed? Or just that the form of which deity showed the full form of Krishna? His beautiful face, beautiful. According to some, as they say in Vrindavan, because, wait, let me just, because okay, just go ahead.
So some people say
that had the full beauty, all the beauty. So Krishna actually, this is what Krishna looks like, and yeah. And each of these, excuse me? You need the proper consciousness of bhakti, and then Krishna manifests. And you see that the different devotees of these different deities, whether it's Govinda or Gopinath or Madan Mohan or Radha Damodar or Radharaman or Shyamasundar, they love those deities. And when they see those deities, because they love and serve those deities, when they see those deities, they see the most beautiful form of Krishna. They see him as a cute little boy, or they see him. So in any case, in Vrindavan, they came to the temple of Shakshi Gopal, which was where the Govinda Ji temple is now situated. After taking baths in different bathing places along the river Yamuna, such as Keshi Ghat and Kaliya Ghat, the pilgrims visited the temple of Gopal, and afterwards they took rest in that temple. The beauty of the Gopal deity stole away their minds, and feeling great happiness, they remained there for 2 or 4 days. One of the 2 brahmanas was an old man, and the other was young. The young man was assisting the old one. Indeed, the young brahmana was always rendering service to the older one, and the old man, being very satisfied with his service, was pleased with him. The older man told the younger, "You have rendered various types of service to me. You have taken care of me so well, because after all, it's difficult to just walk and walk and walk and walk, and who's going to supply the food, and how are we going to arrange this, and who's going to have carrying some clothes, some this, some that." So the young brahmana assisted the older brahmana. And the older brahmana was so appreciative. He said, "You have rendered various types of service to me. You have assisted me in traveling to all these places of pilgrimage." And when one's heart is full of happiness, of satisfaction, then naturally what comes out of the heart is appreciation. And when one is essentially dissatisfied, what comes out of the heart is dissatisfaction. So dissatisfaction with everyone that who we're in contact with. And the other way it works is that when one is actually satisfied within, that satisfaction flows outward. So in one sense, our dealings with others reflect our consciousness, in that sense. So this brahmana, being so satisfied, of course it's austere to walk, but when one gets to the place that one is performing those austerities to get there, and then one feels the satisfaction, the sweetness of Braja, feels the sweetness, the beauty of the deity Gopal, and one is being bathed in that vision and getting mercy in that way and feeling so satisfied. Naturally, he's expressing his appreciation for all that younger brahmana had done to assist him in getting to this most holy place of Sri Vrindavan Dham. And then so the older brahmana said, in front of the deity, "Even my own son does not render such service. By your mercy, I did not become fatigued, tired, while on this tour. You made the journey so simple and easy for me. And if I did not show you any respect, I would be ungrateful. Therefore, I promise to give you my daughter in charity." So he gave something out of his gratitude that was so beloved to him, his own daughter. He wanted to show his deep appreciation by promising that his own daughter would become the wife of this brahmana. But hearing this in front of the deity, the younger Brahmana said, "My dear sir, Shuno, Vipra Mahashai, please hear me. You are saying something very unusual. Such a thing can never happen. You are from a most aristocratic family. You are well educated, you are wealthy, and I am not at all aristocratic. I am without a decent education, and I have no wealth." So people marry, even though they have family. Both of them were born in Brahmin families, but still there was such a difference in the position of society. So if a person who is well placed in society marries a person who is not well placed in society, that's going to cause, first of all, everyone in the town is going to start talking about it, what's going on here. And second of all, will the family members of the well-placed family, will they allow it to happen? Will they appreciate it? Will they even allow it to happen? This type of a marriage. So this younger Brahmana said, "This is very unusual what you're saying," because they were from the same village practically. When Vidyanagar wasn't a village, it was the capital of a great empire. He said, "This, how can you even be saying this? This can't happen." So on one hand, there's many elements of this that don't work well in the contemporary values of society. First of all, first one is that he's giving his daughter in charity. So that one doesn't work very well, because is she an object to be given away? She's a person, she's a soul. Second, is she your property? You own her? So people nowadays don't quite think like that. But that was the societal and traditional norm. And one could talk about when it worked and when it didn't work. But in any case, this was the norm of society. And at least one could say one would be very careful if one is giving something that's so valuable to you in charity, you want to make sure that the person who you're giving it to is going to appreciate it and take good care of it, because it's valuable to you. You know its worth. So that's one element that's difficult to understand, and the other is, of course, there's they don't even know each other. So one could argue whether that's a wise way to have a marriage, but one could also see the result of what they call in India love marriages, and the divorce rate all over the world is like 50%. And who suffers? Everyone suffers from that. Especially the children. So that system doesn't work very well. So one may criticize this other traditional older system, but the newer version, the replacement system, doesn't work very well. So in any case, and what would be the problem of a young lady being married, of a high social standing, being married to a person of a low social standing? And I've seen this also when there's a person a lady who is highly educated, and she marries a person, a man who's not as highly educated. What often happens, there's a pride comes with the education, and then you think yourself better. I've also seen this in India. I've seen people there's like different levels of Kshatriya families. And actually, so much of that, the setting up of the caste system was done by the British. They delineated this caste is this, and this caste is that, and this caste is that. But But aside from that point, I've seen people from a person from a 5th grade Kshatriya family marrying a man marrying a lady from a 4th grade, which was higher Kshatriya family, and there was that element of pride and not respect that got into the marriage, and that caused strife. So there's good reason to marry someone who thinks the way you do, who there won't be this continuous who's going to be the boss of who in the marriage, and the continuous competition and things like that. So there's good reason, because if the marriages are peaceful, then and harmonious, then the children, of course, then one's life is sane, or easier chance of it being sane, and also the children get brought up in a sane environment, and they grow up in a secure and sane way. So there is good reason for it when it works, and one could see the bad reasons when it doesn't work, when Kali Yuga poisons it. But in any case, here's what Prabhupada says, and then we'll end after. No, actually, we'll just wait here. We'll stop here and see if there's any questions, and then next week, Krishna willing, we shall continue hearing the further discussion between whether this is a good idea or not to marry between the different social standings. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Braj Mohan, did you come today? Where's Braj Mohan? Oh, it's Braj Sridhama. Are you here? Are you helping? Are you happy helping? Good. Where is your sister? A party, a Sankirtan party. Okay. Any questions or comments? Yeah.
A quick question. Is this a story Uncle was telling associates?
Oh yeah, it's Nityananda Prabhu had heard the story, and they were in front of the deities, because Nityananda Prabhu had traveled all over on pilgrimage for so many years, for 20 years or so. So he had been to Sakshi Gopal before, and from the townspeople he had heard the story, so he was narrating it to Mahaprabhu, the story of the deity and how the deity got to Katak, because there it was. The deity was in, they saw the deity, the two Brahmanas saw the deity in Vrindavan. Is that okay? Yeah. So Nityananda Prabhu, they're sitting in front of the deity, and he's narrating the story as he had heard it, the pastime of the deity. Clear? Okay. Any other questions? There may be, but I don't know about it. It's not mentioned. If you did a little research, you probably could find out. Because there's an element to date it with the Vijayanagara kings at the end. Because the deity got a pearl from them, so it's at least as early as that, which I don't know those dates either.
The deities like
It's in I can't remember the name. Yeah, there's a train stop called Sakshi Gopal. And the village isn't called Sakshi Gopal though. The village is 5 Panchabandhu or something like that. which is more recent. But the deity now is very close to Jagannath Puri. And Prabhupada described in one of the purports that I didn't read how the deity, it stayed in, after it was in Cuttack, it moved to the Jagannath temple. And then there was some little loving quarrel between Lord Jagannath and Shakshi Gopal. I guess who gets the prasadam first or something. Something like that. So they understood that Shakshi Gopal needed his own temple. Yeah. Yeah. How big is really big? I think he's much bigger, yes? He's like 7 foot maybe, I thought. That was my impression. Do you remember? I only saw him. I think I might have gotten a photo of him though. I was with a person who was from that village, and I got some of the Mahaprasadam. It was quite exceptional, but being a Westerner, I couldn't go in to see the deity, but they let me see him from a distance. Do you go into the Jagannath temple? Just speak Bengali to them and they're happy. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we shall end then. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.